Welcome to East of the Mississippi, Sammy and Marissa's husbands. Are we east of the Mississippi? We have to be.
We are 100% east. You're literally almost as east as you could possibly be.
Yeah, I'm not great with the geographicals.
Yeah, that checks out. Also, every time you do the intro, your mic cuts out. I don't know what it is. So there's going to be another like 5 second pause because you go, Mississippi.
Oh, nice. Okay. So basically, we're the best podcast east of the Mississippi for all the people who didn't get it, which is everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could have probably concluded on where you were getting at when we started talking about the Mississippi, but that's besides the point. So for the agenda, a little homesteading garden update. Um, really two special segments for you guys today. Um, Kind of unprecedented in the history of Sammy and Marissa's husband. So we'll jump into those here in a bit. Kind of a little boys trip planning. I think that needs to be talked about. Talk about UConn champs, right? NBA playoffs start Tuesday. And then if we got time, we'll talk about kind of what's going on for the week. So, homesteading update, right? So, my garden in the back is getting there. We got our seedlings have sprouted. We got them in solo cups right now in the window. So, we still have them inside. And they're growing really. The tomatoes are doing really well. The squash are doing really well. We also planted some wildflowers, which are doing extremely well. And we're gonna get those into the garden beds in the yard next weekend. Pretty pumped up about that. Hopefully, it's not an utter failure, but um, I think we might be able to get a good little stock of veggies for fall.
What's your goal on success rate for, because you have a lot of seedlings?
Yeah, so I have a lot of seedlings. I don't expect all of them to make the transition. Um, Really, if I have like a 50% success rate, I'd be happy. So I think I have like 8 tomato plants. If like 50% of each crop kind of worked out into the outdoors, I think I'd be happy. So 4 tomato plants, like 4 jalapenos, I think 3 bell peppers would be like my goal.
That'd be that'd be pretty solid. I mean, and tomatoes, I think it has a lot to do with the climate. At least here, the yield on the tomatoes was insane just from one plant.
Right.
So
So that's the thing is figuring out. I think for me, figuring out how much water they actually need and not overwatering them. You know what I'm saying? Because me, I'm like, okay, plants need water. Like, let's fucking soak them. But that's not always the case. I think overwatering is very much a thing. Um, so we'll see. Like this is our first one, and we kind of went big. We got 2 6x2 garden beds in the backyard, and we're ripping up a 10x10 square and putting like rocks down to make like a whole garden area. So we're sending it. Basically, I'm betting on ourselves, and we're gonna have a fucking garden. Best believe that shit.
I mean, you got the space. You have a huge yard, so you might as well make the most of it.
Right, and no grass, so might as well dig it up and put rocks down. Right.
Yeah, and I think sand is rocks, something like that.
Correct. Sand is broken down rock.
There we go. There
Yeah,
we go.
we've been in some geology classes before.
Why use lot words when few words do trick?
Yeah, live by that. Um, but how cool would it be to kind of transition into like a sustainable living thing, like a self-sustainable living? Like
Like a
obviously, I'm not gonna have cows in my backyard and like butcher cows and eat them, but like growing veggies, growing potatoes and shit like that would be super cool.
like
Um,
a mini homestead.
a mini homestead, and I don't expect to have that like here. But maybe like in retirement life or when I become a little older, uh, just be like, I'll freaking can some things. I don't know what you really can. I'm assuming beans and shit,
Do you
but
like pickles?
so I don't like pickles. I like
Okay,
I
I was
like
gonna say what
I actually hate It's not that I don't like pickles. I fucking hate pickles.
Strong stance to take. I don't agree with you, but pickling things, I think once people have gardens, they take to pickling. That's what I have a cousin who lives in Kentucky that's taken to pickling.
For sure. I think that's definitely a thing because it makes them last. Um,
Yeah, it's like the natural progression of you have excess produce, you don't want it to go to waste, pickle it.
yeah, not gonna happen. I'll just let them go to waste.
Well, you can compost. You could just compost the stuff you don't eat.
True, true. Um, but like honestly, like everything we're growing, we eat a lot of, except squash. I don't know why we decided to grow squash. Like I haven't had squash in probably years. But uh
What kind of squash? Yellow squash?
yeah, yellow squash.
Do you like zucchini?
I like squash better than I like zucchini.
Okay.
Um Squash is good. I just feel like every time I've had it, it's always cooked like like crazy and
Just
it's mushy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like that either.
I don't really like mushy squash. I think on the grill it'd probably be solid.
Yeah, I don't typically like mushy vegetables in general. I like
Yeah,
crisp vegetable.
like I like oven roasted shit versus like steamed.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
we'll try it out. Hopefully we have a decent crop this fall and I can eat because like tomatoes, obviously you can do tons of things with jalapenos, bell peppers. You can do all kinds of stuff with that. We planted like some cilantro and stuff like that too. So we'll see.
yeah, I'm interested to see. Eventually, I'm sure we'll launch a Twitter or like an Instagram page or something you can post like progress pics.
Yeah, right, right. I don't want to make anybody jealous, but you know,
Well, they need to know. I mean, they're poor, they don't have a yard. They need to know what they can aspire to.
right, right. Give them some good goals to set. Um, so one of our special little segments is we're trying to bring some laughter, I think, to you guys' live. We're gonna read some Reddit stories, and we're gonna start that off by Marissa's husband doing some public reading for you guys, and we're gonna watch and point and laugh when he can't read it.
This is uh, our blind reaction to it. So neither one of us have heard these. These are submitted to us by our friend Alli. So I'm clicking on the first one. I'm gonna read it. It's not crazy long, but it's a little bit. Okay, so this is on Two Hot Takes Reddit forum. The title is My Girlfriend Fucked a Guy She Knows I Hate While We Were on a Break, and I'm not allowed to be mad at her for it. Okay.
Interesting.
My girlfriend and I went on a break a while back. I'll be honest and say it was 100% my fault. I was dealing with pretty serious mental health issues. Been there, brother. That I used to get tested and medicated for. We were apart for 6 months, during which I got diagnosed and medicated and got back to a manageable point. After she found out, she came back and we reconnected, and she said she was wanted to try again with me. We got back together and we just didn't talk about anything that happened during the break. I wasn't doing anything, but she was. She started hooking up with a guy in my fraternity that I fucking hate. He's a scumbag and he used to say pretty racist things about me being half Chinese back when we were freshmen, and I haven't forgotten about that. She knew I didn't like him and she knew why I didn't like him. So I didn't know this, and now we've been back together for almost a year and things have been awesome. The issue now is after a huge blowout fight with her best friend, her friend decided to be petty and tell me that during the break she was fucking that guy. I asked my girlfriend if it was true, and she said it was and tried to apologize. I said I didn't care, but truthfully, I am so upset. First, the guy is racist and was a dick to me. Second, I'm intimidated by him because of this. He's like 6'2" and handsome and gets tons of attention from women, and people like to overlook him generally being an asshole because he's attractive. You can relate to that.
Yeah, it's basically describing me.
And now to me, it feels like he's proven he could just easily bang my girlfriend and not while this is kind of devastating information. Like I feel sick to my stomach about it. but I can't do anything about it. I can't be mad at her for sleeping with someone almost a year ago while we weren't together. I can't let on how insecure I am about it, about her being into him enough to sleep with him. I can't say or do anything. I'm not sure what to do. Here's what you do, friend. This was posted by Puzzle Headed Fix 2617. You break up with that fucking whore. She's into racists, and you're half Chinese, brother. It won't work out. What do you think?
Yeah, it's not going to work out. I think you gotta cut your losses on that one.
I
Oh,
mean,
man. What a
that's
situation.
yeah,
What
that's
a
fucked. Especially
situation.
if she knew beforehand. Like, imagine, you and Sammy go on a break and she hooks up with a guy that you absolutely despise.
Couldn't do it.
Honestly, if me and Marissa went on a break and she had sex with anybody, I probably just would never speak to her again.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm selfish, so
Yeah, and that's made us who we are. All right, so I got one too. Title is My M27 Wife F28 Showed Her Friends Our Sex Tapes. So, my wife and I have been together for 7 years, married for 2. We have a healthy and active sex life. One thing we like to do is just record ourselves. Nothing fancy, just our phones in the moment. We have a shared cloud server that we send it to. That way we can watch it on our phones and other devices without it being saved on our phones. We sometimes like watching them together, or we both travel somewhat frequently for work and watch it then. My wife has a very active group of friends that she spends a lot of time just all hanging out, chatting, and drinking wine, a typical girls' night in. They usually meet at our house, so I usually go downstairs and play games, or sometimes go out with my friends. They tend to get loud when they get drunk, and whenever I don't have something playing in my headphones, I can hear them. A common topic in their sex life is their sex lives. It made me feel weird at first to hear my wife and her friends talk about our sex life, but I remembered I used to talk about my sex life with my friends when I was younger. However, the other night I heard a whooping and cheering, so I crept up the stairs to see the commotion. My wife was playing some of our sex tapes on the TV for all to see. I went back downstairs and stayed down there until they were ready for me to drive them home. Usually there's some, I don't even know that word, cheers and such from her friends as I walk up the stairs and grab the keys. This time, a couple of them did wolf whistles, which they've never done before, and one said, "Way to go, stud." My wife shouted or shushed them and decided to come along when I dropped them off. There was a lot of drunk giggling in the car ride. After I got home, I wanted to talk with my wife about what I saw, but I thought she was too drunk to have a serious conversation with. We went to bed and she tried to engage, but I told her I was too tired. The next afternoon, she was sober and less hungover. I asked her why she showed our videos to her friends. She got deer in the headlights look on her face. She then said they were just having a good time and she told them about our collection and they started to beg to see them, so she obliged. I told her those were private videos and said we never said we couldn't show them to others, and it's not like she sent them the files. I think she could tell I didn't like that answer, and she said she'll make it up to me and then tried to engage. I backed up and said I was going for a drive. I texted her that I was hanging out with some buddies for the day, and when I got home that night, I set up camp on the couch, and I've been sleeping there the past couple nights. I don't think this is called for divorce or anything. I'm just like upset that she violated my trust like that, even though we never had an agreement. I just thought it was implied. I'm also upset since she didn't apologize until I started sleeping on the couch, and that she originally tried to engage instead of apologizing when we first talked. Interesting situation, I'd like to say. I mean, I feel like if she showed her friends the videos, it means you're probably handling yourself fairly well, uh, but still very awkward. I could not imagine the embarrassment that I would feel in that situation.
it's definitely got to be embarrassing. But also, if they're hooting and hollering and whistling at you, calling you a stud, you just got to take that one on the chin, buddy.
Yeah, you got to take it on the chin. I mean, now they've seen it, so like, it would be weird if that was, the Wednesday night activity. They come over for girls' night and they just watch all sex tapes.
I mean, dude's obviously got a fucking piece on him.
He must. I mean, unless it's just like bare ass from the back, he's just like seeing his ass go to town.
I mean, Imagine they showed our sex tapes and you see just average penises, and everybody's like, I've seen an average penis.
Oh man, maybe it's happened.
I don't have sex tapes. Are you what are you confiding something into
No,
me?
no, no, no. Maybe Marissa secretly records you and shows all her girlfriends on wine night.
I mean, I know they talk about sex stuff, but
Oh yeah, for sure. It's one thing talking about it versus watching the sex tape.
yeah, I just hope she lies and says I have a fucking massive hog. But
She doesn't. She doesn't.
all right,
All right.
let me get into this other one.
All right.
Allie, this is what Allie said after she texted me this one. This one is particularly raunchy, may or may not be suitable for your content.
Oh God. I think at that point we have to read it.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Hold on. Okay. Today I fucked up by coming into a coconut. Is the header. This fuck up didn't happen today, but quite a few years back. For obvious reasons, I'm using a throwaway account as my family knows my main Reddit username. Anyway, around 8 years ago, I lived in northern Mozambique, a coastal southern African country quite with quite a warm climate. My mother at the time was going through a health nut phase and only buying foods that she deemed healthy enough. One of these was coconuts. She would buy several coconuts a week to use in food from the local market. Anyway, being a horny teenager, I fapped in regular intervals. Unfortunately, there were some severely stressful examinations coming up for me. And as such, my fapping reached a higher peak than usual, and I was feeling pretty sexually frustrated. One day, I hear that my mother is going to be out for pretty much the entire afternoon. Horny me decides that it would be a fantastic idea to fuck a coconut. Honestly, to this day, I can't fathom why I thought that would be a good idea, but my train of thought back then was clearly somewhat clogged. I end up grabbing the coconut drill and through 20-ish minutes of concerted effort, end up making a hole large enough for me to stick my porker into. I decide it requires some lube and grab the nearest slippery thing, some butter,
Oh,
before shoving it before shoving it into the coconut, followed shortly by my meat. I I fuck the coconut and it actually feels pretty damn good, so I blow my load, shove the coconut under my bed, and continue about my day. Oh my God. For the next week, the coconut is my savior. Whenever I want to get, I simply take it out and fuck it in its delightfully tight hole, made better each time by accumulating volumes of my semen and butter acting as lubricant. It's heaven. Now, before I continue, I'd best mention that at the time our area was experiencing quite humid, muggy weather, which exacerbated an already existing fly problem.
oh my
Dis-
God.
Disgustingly fat, bloated flies were commonly found around our house, and the exterminators couldn't do anything because it was a localized area problem that would, quote unquote, go away in the winter. About a week and a bit after the initial coconut fuck, I had been using it pretty much every day since then. I began to notice a few more flies than usual, as well as an odd, unpleasant smell about my room. Must be the coconut, right? So I decide that I'll fuck it once more before I throw it out and get a new one. Worst mistake I've ever made. You see, the reason for the increased number of flies was that the coconut was evidently, in hindsight, a near perfect place to lay eggs. As I penetrate the coconut one last time, oh fuck, I begin to feel a strange wriggling sensation. I pulled my cock out to discover that it was covered in rotted and moldy butter and semen teeming with tiny fucking maggots.
Oh my God.
They were wriggling all over my dickhead, and some were even trying to force their way up into my urethra.
Oh my
I
God.
screamed and threw the coconut against the wall, which made the situation Worse by spilling the contents. Hours of vigorous cock scrubbing, vomiting, and cleaning the remnants were spent reflecting on what the fuck I was doing with my life.
It can't be real, right?
What do you mean? How do you make something up like that?
No, and somebody made that up. There's no way that happened.
I never got the. I mean, I've masturbated as much as the next guy, probably more. I've never had the desire to stick my penis into any kind of food.
No, no, that's odd. That's next level desperation.
Yeah,
I mean,
coconut
definitely,
is hard.
definitely has some serious creativity, but next level
Well, yeah,
desperation.
now I have a new idea.
If Marissa, if you're
Fuck
listening
it.
to this, if Tyler starts buying coconuts, you're in for some problems.
Well, you see, I'd be smart. I'd fuck it once. I wouldn't leave a coconut full of cum laying around.
Yeah, until you get that post nut clarity and you're just trying to get rid of it. So you're just like, put it under the bed. And then that time comes back around, you're like, got my coconut back.
That's like people who would like cum in a sock and then leave the cum sock there. I never understood that either.
Yeah, yeah. That's just sick. That's sick. I'm skipping my last. Actually, fuck it. I'll read it. Why not? Right?
I mean, we're here.
We're here. All right. So this one is titled "The Poop Knife." My family poops big. Maybe it's genetic. Maybe it's our diet. But everyone births giant logs of crap. If anyone was, if anyone has laid a mega poop, you know that sometimes it won't flush. It lays across the hole in the bottom of the bowl, and the vortex of the draining water merely gives it a spin as it mocks you. Growing up, this was common enough occurrence in our family that we had a poop knife. It was an old rusty kitchen knife that hung on a nail in the laundry room, only to be used for that purpose. It was normal to walk through the hallway and have someone call out, "Hey, can you get me the poop knife?" I thought it was standard kit. You have your plunger, you have your toilet brush, and you have your poop knife. Fast forward to 22. It's been a day or two between poops, and I'm over at a friend's house. My friend was a local dealer and always had guests over because you can't buy weed without sitting on your ass and sampling it for an hour. I excuse myself and lay a gigantic turd. I look down and see that it's a sideways one. So I crack the door and call out for my friend. He arrives, and I ask him for the poop knife. My what? Your poop knife, I say. I need to use it. Please. What the fuck is a poop knife? Obviously, he has one, but maybe he calls it by a more delicate name, a fecal cleaver, a dung divider. I explain what it is and I want it and why I want it. He starts giggling, then laughing, then lots of people start laughing. It turns out the music stopped and everyone heard my pleas through the door. It also turns out that none of them had poop knives. It was just my fucked up family with their fucked up bowels. FML. I told this to my wife last night, who was amused and horrified at the same time. It turns out that she did not know what a poop knife was and had been using the old rusty knife hanging in the utility closet as a basic utility knife. Thankfully, she didn't cook with it, but used it to open Amazon boxes. She will be getting her own utility knife now. That's some sick stuff.
That's
Obviously, they have not necessarily a bowel issue, but a plumbing issue because if you can't just regularly just flush your shit down, you got bad plumbing and giant shits.
yeah. I mean, I've laid some meaty ones, and I've never had that.
Also, your stomach is so fucked up that you don't really have solid shits. So,
That's fair too. It's a lot of liquid and mushy poo.
eh,
I think I've alienated all of the female listeners at this point.
yeah, no more females are going to be listening to us. Um, God, that's a hell of a thing. I don't really use Reddit. Like I use it for streaming, right? NBA streams Reddit. And then there's like army shit that I look up on Reddit, but that's it. I don't even really know about like pages on Reddit or however the hell it's supposed to be used. But
They're like forums. I use Reddit because I have something from my great grandmother that's written in Farsi,
mm,
and I'm trying to get it translated. And there's a Reddit forum, but you need it's called Karma, which you get for posting and commenting and people giving you likes, basically.
Yeah.
And you need 100 karma to post on that page. And I only have 35. So I post in like scrap metal forums. I posted in a podcasting forum asking about questions about like audio issues we've had with Zoom, like stuff cutting in and out. And most people were cool. There was one guy that was a cunt, but whatever, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, we should find him.
I looked him up. His podcast has way more viewers than we do.
Yeah, that checks out. Not for long though. We're on the up and up. Just like our
If
gambling.
we blow up because of this episode, do we have to stop talking about basketball?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we're going to though. I don't think we're going to. I don't think I have the voice to be reading Reddit stories and people just want to listen. So also like we're doing this because this is the shit that I like talking about. So like I'm not gonna just talk about random shit that I don't like talking about. I do think the Reddit stories is a good thing. I think it's funny.
I like talking about the stuff too. It's not just what you like talking about.
Wait, we're not doing this just because I want to do it? I didn't say, hey, Tyler, make a Zoom account because I want to chat with you. But so transitioning, up next, we have a special segment for you guys, right? So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, the first guest in the short history of Sammy and Marissa's husbands, a man of many nicknames, those nicknames being Plankface, Slop, SoCo Wes, my personal favorite, Mr. Krabs, and what he'll be known for on this show, Allis Husband. How's it going, brother?
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me on, finally. On the big time pod.
How's it feel? Do you feel famous?
I feel important.
You should. You should.
A little validation of my importance to my friends.
Yeah, well, so I do hear that you had a big matchup this week. Let's break that down. I want to hear about it.
Well, it was me and Corey in the championship, and it was close all week. After the first two games, I was in the lead, and then next two games he took the lead, and then today it was back and forth all day, and it came down to being tied with Trey Murphy and CJ McCollum playing, and that's it. With like 4 minutes left. And with like a minute and something left, it was 9:33, 9:33. And they took them both out. And me and Corey are on the phone like, what's going on? Are we about to tie in the championship? And then out of nowhere, a point dropped off of his. So a stat correction. And there's still going to be stat correction. But as of this video, this pod, I am the champion by 1 point.
Wow, that's a hell of a turnaround. So you just announced the champion as of right now.
As of right now, but it could change. I am officially.
You're gonna feel sick if it changes and you listen to this on Monday and you're the lead.
I will drive off a bridge. But I am officially Amin Thompson's #1 fan. He got me a 40 fantasy point triple double, first career triple double, and without him, wouldn't have been close.
Is that the one on the Rockets or the Pistons?
The Rockets.
Rockets. Damn.
My new second favorite player.
Freaking first championship. How's it feel?
Potentially. It's not going to feel like anything until it's confirmed.
That's fair.
When it's confirmed, then I'll do another guest feature soon and let you know what the final feeling was, but it will feel real good.
All right.
Especially
so there's only one two-time, and that's old Roni up there. You got any thoughts to how he can handle his championship feeling?
First thing he needs to do if he wins is immediately rub it in the face of the person he's beaten. You lay it into him and give it to him fast, and you give it to him hard. There's nothing like making it to the championship and losing. especially since Corey embarrassed me in the fantasy football playoffs 2 years ago. So, you got to lay it on him. You got to throw your weight around, tell him who's boss. And then you have a legitimate claim at being the second best player in championship basketball history behind myself. No one else has that claim because I'm the only two-time, but there's a bunch of one-times, and you're now added to that list.
That's an elite list.
Elite list. I'm happy for you. So why we brought you on here? So we brought you on here to talk about the little rap beef that's going on right now with Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, and numerous other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to know from you is kind of your thoughts on the situation this far.
Well, I guess we'll have to start from the beginning. Random, non-listed Kendrick Lamar feature on Future Metro Boomin's album. Obviously, that's a surprise in itself. But for it to be a diss at Drake out of nowhere, there's not been any rumblings. There's nothing being said. No one knew they had any kind of problem at all. So I think the shock factor was really good. No one saw that shit coming.
Yeah, for sure.
And just on a verse basis, it was fire. He killed it. A lot of funny little jabs, excellent flow. He ate it up. And then your boy, and also my boy, J. Cole, launched the first counterattack.
He did.
And since you are the resident J. Cole fanatic, I want to get your thoughts on that before I tell you what I think.
Okay. We'll talk about the J. Cole debacle, the whole situation with the apology, the song, and all that stuff here in a bit. I agree with you in terms of the shock factor. Released it on Metro's album. Nobody knew Kendrick was going to have a feature on there. Thought it was a good song. I liked the song. I listened to it in the gym. It's good stuff. Future just tends to sound like Future does in every song. So it's like I kind of get tired of that because he's just saying words that I can't understand over and over again. But I thought it was pretty surprising, even though I think Drake and Kendrick have kind of been going at it for years subliminally. And he finally came out and did some, not necessarily name dropping, but at least very much pointing fingers to who he's talking about. And I think it was pretty clear. Before we get into the J. Cole thing, because I have that on the list in a second, from the songs, right? We have Kendrick's song, then J. Cole, then Drake's allegedly Drake's song. We don't really know; it's still unconfirmed. And then Rick Ross came back with his new thing. So I need you to rank those songs in order for me on what you just listening, right? What you like.
Just listening. Okay. Just listening, just based on what, sitting there and what do I enjoy my ears the most. It's gotta be 7 Minute Drill first. I really liked it. Cole flowed over the whole beat. I really liked the beat. Second would be Like That. Kendrick ate up all that shit, and I was there for it. I have Drake third. I think it kind of hurts my opinion on the song because it has not been confirmed yet, and he hasn't came out and said, it's my song, promote it, nothing. So I kind of can't give my full opinion on it until I know for sure. I think it was him. It's probably him. I like it. Rick Ross last. It wasn't a bad diss. It was a good diss. But he kind of came out of nowhere, and Rick Ross is not even in the same league as the other three dudes. So it's he kind of wanted a little bit of attention because he got kind of mentioned. And it's oh, hey, I'm still kind of relevant. I'm Rick Ross. So I put him at the bottom because even if, like I said, it was a good diss, but it's not going to matter in the long term of this. No one cares what he says.
Right.
A little bit, but not, at the end of the day, not really.
Yeah, no. I agree with you for sure. Tyler, do you have a dog in this fight, or are you just kind of spectating?
No, I'm just spectating. I'm really not too up on it. I like 7 Minute Drill. I listened to that whole like random album he dropped, and I thought it was pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. So, Wes, my order is exactly the same as yours. Obviously, 7 minute drill. I thought it was upbeat. It was fast. I liked it. Like that, I really like. I really like Kendrick's verse. Um, from me listening to the entire Metro album, because that's when I heard like that. I was just listening to the album, and Future just sounds like the same over and over and over. So like that kind of took some points away from me, is because Future was annoying me at this point.
Fair.
Given that I like Future in that song more than the other ones, but I like the verse and like that a lot. Drake song, same. I think it was upbeat, it was quick, it was witty, but it's not going to be something I listen to a lot. Doesn't really have like the gym playlist vibe to it. Doesn't really have like the cruising in the car playlist vibe to it. So I'm just not really sure where it fits. And then Rick Ross is the same thing. Like, not the biggest Rick Ross fan in the world, so it's not like my style of listening music. It was fine, but
You
um,
like talking more than rapping.
right. And I think he just really wanted to talk shit. Like he just
Yeah.
really wanted to come out and say some things. I think he said
White boy.
white boy like
White boy.
40 times.
Hey, that
Uh,
was like the biggest insult in the whole train. He's like, white boy.
yeah, white boy. That was his fighting piece. But um, so with you have them ranked, right? Who do you think is
Yeah.
winning right now?
That's where it gets interesting. I don't have a winner because Cole and Drake have released full songs.
We may have just lost Alli's husband.
Hey, that's a great
He's
that's a
calling.
great that's a great way to cut off it.
That's a great way to cut it off. Hold on one second. Hello? Oh man, I have the best picture of you on frozen on my screen right now.
Me too, me too. I say we keep it like that.
Oh man, that's annoying. All right, hold on. Let's see if you can hop back in or not. We might be able to edit it out.
No, leave it in.
All right. Well, when you get back on, just enter in through your email just like you did last time. He's back.
Jeez, man.
Just
I
a
do have to
quick.
say,
Wes had to
don't
take a potty break. It's okay.
I do have
Oh
to
my
say
God.
that's the best it could have gone for a like there's no way it was going to go off with no technical difficulties or no bullshit.
No,
We just
no.
had you frozen on our screen like this.
I still can't even see
He
y'all.
was doing like the Hitler wave. He was like,
Yeah.
I can only hear y'all. I can't even see you.
You
"Oh,
don't need
really?"
to.
It's fine. But anyway, that's what I was saying.
Yep.
Until Drake, or not Drake, sorry, lost my train of thought. Kendrick puts out a full song of a diss. I cannot give a fair evaluation because I mean, Drake's was really long. I mean, I don't have an exact time on it, but it was probably close to 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cole's was probably about 2.5 minutes. So I mean, Kendrick had what, like a minute and a half long verse,
If that, yeah.
if that. So it's like, all right, until he puts a real song out, like with it being known as a diss, I can't say.
I
Yeah,
can
that's
But
fair.
go ahead, Todd.
I'll give you my rankings just based on my limited knowledge of it. Kendrick's winning. Uh Drake second, Rick Ross third, and I think J. Cole is immediately out because he's apologized, even though his shit was fire. Like, if you apologize and it's like a diss war, aren't you immediately like, don't you lose at that point?
Yeah. Like I said, I want to get into Cole's apology in a little bit. I think Drake is currently winning. Kendrick to me can't be winning because he threw the initial jab, right? Now, with that, I agree with Cole being in last. I think it's Drake winning. I really don't even think Rick Ross is relevant. He's not even really. It's really a battle between three people, and it's and really two. Honestly, it's Kendrick and Drake. So I think Drake is winning right now because he has thrown back a good counterpunch, right? And it was a good song. Like he had good points. It flowed well. And it's a waiting game for me. I think we'll see. Wes, I do have to ask, do you think Kendrick comes back?
Absolutely. I think it's gonna be nasty.
Think so?
I do. You don't throw the initial jab without the intention of following it up with a haymaker.
Yeah. You think he's had something like written for a while?
Uh, if he didn't have something written, he's been writing it. But I think he probably added to whatever he had written. So I mean, obviously, each disc has kind of responded to the previous one. So I know he's going to take everything that's been said and respond to all that and add to whatever else he planned on saying anyway.
Right. Um, yeah, it's hard because I think Drake said a lot of things about him. It wasn't tailored towards like one thing. So I think it's just kind of going back. They're both basically saying that each other's work sucks. They're better than the other one. Blah blah blah. So I'm interested to see where it goes. Um, so J. Cole's apology, right? J. Cole dropped his album that Friday after the Metro thing came out. He had 7 Minute Drill on the album. It's now removed from streaming services. So J. Cole was on tour and he kind of sat up there and was like, um, what'd he say? He basically said like it was the lamest shit he's ever done. It was a very honest thing, and I think he was speaking from his heart and stuff like that, which is definitely part of J. Cole's persona. Um, and I think it was like a more of an apology to fans than it was to Kendrick. Like I don't think he really cares if he hurts Kendrick's feelings. I think he was apologizing to his fans, saying like, "That's not how I like came up and made myself off doing shit like that. So like I want to apologize to you guys for like stooping down to that level." And I think he really like it. What it was talking about Kendrick's uh albums, like his what's it, catalog.
Yeah.
I think that's where he was like, man, I wish I wouldn't have talked about that. I think he would have been cool with a diss track, like saying everything else except for talking shit about his artwork in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's fair. Um, for me personally, and Trey, you'll understand this reference. Um, think of playing, pickup basketball with Tyler Caproni, and Tyler's yapping at somebody,
Oh
his
my
usual
God.
shtick,
I know where you're going with this.
pu-
Shut the fuck up.
pushing, shoving, I'll fucking kill you, whatever he usually says. Um, getting in his face, and then when things are about to blow up, he's like, you know what, dude, I love you. Give us a hug. And
That
you're like,
isn't how it goes.
whatever you
I,
say, bud.
I never apologize during a game.
Oh, I don't know if I believe. I need
Ever.
the footage of every game you've ever played to confirm that.
I never apologize during the game, and I will fight someone during a game, but no one ever wants to. After the game, whatever. I'm not gonna have a grudge over a fucking pickup basketball game on a Tuesday with some of these psychopaths that live in this town. So I'll apologize.
Trey, am I wrong though?
Yeah. No, I see where you're going with that, and I think it does make a lot of sense. Like in the heat of the moment, like I'm pissed off, and then like things cool down, you have a second to reflect about what you did, and you're like, maybe I was a dick. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I get that, and it's a mature way of going about it. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you sat down, you wrote that song. It came out pretty quick.
Hmm.
I mean, I know he probably knocked it out pretty quick, but I mean, he had some thoughts that obviously were already there. And he took the time to write the song, record the song, sit on it because it's not like he immediately put it out. And then he dropped the album, song was on there, it was out there, for a while, and he's like, all right, hold on. So I get where he's coming from. I think it's a mature stance. It's just like if you really were going to take that approach, you probably should have just left it alone to begin with.
Yeah. Um, I feel you. So another thought that I had is like, do you think Kendrick called him after the song came out and was like, "Hey, man, like that shit wasn't really directed at you. That shit was directed at Drake."
Definitely possible. I mean, because even during the dissing, that's the one thing that's a little bit different about J. Cole's diss compared to everybody else's, is that while he was shitting on Kendrick, he was also respecting him at the same time. Like he's like, you're my boy. I really don't want to go at you,
Yeah.
but if you make me, I will. And he's like, you're good. And I think your catalog's been, hit and miss, but like you're still, I still respect you. But it's just like, I don't know, man. I really had to like it really won't settle with me until I hear what Kendrick has to say.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I was very confused by the apology as well. And obviously I didn't want it. I wanted war. You know what I mean? But last question on this topic. Who will come out as the winner?
Oof, oof. I'm gonna go out and say just because of my, it might be a biased opinion for personal preference, but I think Kendrick comes out on top.
You think so?
If there is a finish to the story, I think Kendrick will win the war in the end.
All right. All
Don't get
right.
me wrong, Drake surprised me. I thought Drake's diss was very good. I like when Drake raps like that. I prefer that Drake, but I just don't think that Drake can compete with Kendrick on a mission.
Yeah, I've never been like the type of person that loves Kendrick's music.
Yep.
So it's going to be a little harder for me to get behind one of Kendrick's songs. I really like Drake's music. So I feel like I might like what Drake has to put out more so than what Kendrick does just based on my like personal music preference. Um, all I know is Kendrick better drop something on Friday. If he doesn't and we see another back-to-back situation, it's not going to be good.
Nope. He's got to respond soon.
Yeah, he's got till Friday, honestly.
How long has Like That been out? At least what, like 3 weeks, I think? Something like that.
Right, but
That's what I'm saying. Like he's had time to drop that dropped, all the responses. Like he's had time. So like he's got to put something out.
yeah, no, I agree. It's got to happen by Friday because that's typically when the music comes out. So Thursday at midnight, like
Mhm.
if he doesn't have anything, like he's losing points.
Does Drake lose points if he doesn't officially release that? Because it's still not official yet. He hasn't
Yeah,
claimed it.
that's
It's not
true.
promoted by him.
That
He's
is
rep
very true.
like that. For me, it takes a little bit away. He won't officially claim it. It's like, all right, if this is you and you're talking that shit, man up, claim it. Don't
Yeah,
just like
that's
reference
true.
it on Instagram and your stories. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does have to claim it. I don't think he necessarily has to put it out on Apple stream service, but he
No,
has to claim it. I think he kind of has claimed it, like saying like, "Hey, like I did put this out." However, he's got to be like I'm the one that released this. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely.
All
Do
right,
you think
brother.
Cole? All right, well, before I go, quick question:
Uh-huh.
Do you think Cole jumps back in, or is he out of the fight completely?
Nah, I think he's out of the fight. I think he's got to be. Um, I think he's got to be out of the fight. You can't say that. And to me, I don't think it was necessarily an apology as much as it was like just an honest moment with him with some fans and he kind of said the wrong shit and it is what it is. But I think at this point he's already removed his shit from streaming services. He's done.
Even if he gets shat on?
Yeah, I don't think he cares if he gets shat on, to be honest.
All right, fair enough. We'll see. But I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, man. It was good to have you.
Looking forward to it.
You are now the official Sammy and Marissa's husband's rap correspondent.
Allison's husband, the rap correspondent. I like it.
All right, dog. Catch you later.
Later, dogs.
And we're back. We want to give a big shout out to Alli's husband, Darth Plankface 77. Look him up on PlayStation. Our new rap correspondent. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yep, that was a good one. We got some good expert analysis from another white person who likes to analyze hip hop. So, um, but with that, it's always good talking to the pals. Speaking of that, I think we need to plan a boys trip. We've been doing bachelor parties basically every year because it just seems like someone is getting married all the time recently. But now we're on the downward spiral of the bachelor parties. So I think we need to try and do some sort of boys trip every year. And it doesn't have to be just a boys trip, like wives can come. That's
I mean,
fine.
they can come sit in the corner and not talk.
Right. They can come just to make the price go down a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, they're not allowed to have fun or anything like that for sure.
absolutely not.
Um, but with that, do you think this year is doable?
Late in the year, I think, yeah.
Like fall time?
Fall. I think fall would be good because that's good mountain weather.
Right.
You know,
Right. And that's
obviously, we live at the beach. Obviously, you don't anymore, but you grew up at the beach, so we don't need to go to a beach town.
correct. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Given like our Oak Island trips were pretty legendary. And there will be a time and place for that to happen again. But
Yeah.
for these trips, we're getting older. I think like a mountain house, little mountain getaway thing would be a fun thing to do. Like we don't have to go out to bars, basically just like a big house where we can hang out there the whole time and chill.
A place with some trails, maybe, maybe a place we could go like mountain biking or something.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. Or like this house we're going to with Sam's family has a tennis court in the backyard. Like, I mean, I don't want to ruin you guys' vacation with just losing the whole weekend, that's what it'll turn out to be anyway, because we'll break out the beer pong and I won't lose. And you know how that story goes. You see it over and over. Um, but
Well, we'll be partners, so it won't matter.
well, right.
So
Yeah, me and you will just run the show, kind of how it always works. Everybody's going to come into it with high hopes, thinking they're going to win everything because that's typically what happens, and we're going to spoil it.
and then we'll put them down like a horse with a broken leg.
Yeah, so just take them out of their misery.
Which I disagree with, by the way. Horses can be more than racehorses, so that's a problem with the horse racing industry.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little inhumane. Well, it's a little inhumane to kill them if they're not suffering.
Yeah. Well, if they can't live a healthy life, you got to put them down.
Yeah, take them in the woods. Fucking 12 gauge to the brain. But who cleans that up? You just explode a horse's brain all over the forest.
If you do it in the woods,
Well, I figured you'd do it in the woods. You don't want it in your barn, right?
I think they do it in the barn, and I don't think they shoot them. To be honest with you,
Like injection of some sort.
yeah, that's what I think. I've done no research on it, so I'm sure your brother will fucking say some stupid shit to me.
But I would imagine that the injection costs a decent amount of money.
We're talking about racehorses, though.
That is true. Those people have money. I would imagine, though, there's still some people that like to penny pinch a little bit and just take them out back and pop one in the brain.
Yeah. You can also eat horses.
Yeah, you can eat just about anything.
I'm pretty sure Burger King used to serve horse meat. I don't know if that's true, Burger King's lawyers. I'm just saying that I've heard it.
Didn't Burger King have chicken fries?
Burger King does have chicken fries, baby.
It's really horse fries.
No, those are chicken. I think the Whopper is horse meat.
Oh God.
That's why I don't eat beef.
Given like in other cultures, it's probably not that weird to eat horses. However,
in other cultures, they eat dogs and shit. I mean, everything's different all over the world.
Right. Yeah, I'm not gonna eat a horse.
I think in South America they eat a lot of guinea pigs.
Yeah, I've heard that. I just feel like a guinea pig, it's a lot of killing for probably not a lot of meat. You know what I mean?
I'm sure they fatten them up like we fatten up chickens. They got like big guinea pig farms.
They got genetically modified guinea pigs.
You got them GMO GPs, bro.
Oh Christ. All right. Well, I want you to drop a comment for us on some location for this year's boys trip. So listeners, do some work for us. Pick us a location, and we'll get on the Airbnb and make it happen.
And I know we have at least 18 people who listen to this. I don't know who the fuck you are, but I take time out of my day to do a Q&A. Answer the fucking question.
Yeah. Also, you want to hear some content? Like, freaking, let's get after it. Drop some Q&A. We'll answer them right here live. No reaction, or we won't read them ahead of time. We'll give you our live reaction, and you can say some absurd shit on there if you want to.
Yep. Preferably nothing racist.
Yeah, and no more coconuts. I've heard enough about fucking coconuts than I've needed to in my entire life.
Yeah, no girlfriends having sex with racist men.
Yeah. Yeah, that's damn always hating the Chinese. But so back into our regular scheduled program, right? UConn won the national championship. Not much to talk about there. Everyone in America should have known UConn was going to win that. I think -6.5 was the easiest money I've ever made. I only put 20 on it, but as you know, 20 is a large bet for me.
Huge bet.
Right. That's how confident I was. And that was the easiest money I've ever made. I knew they were going to beat the shit out of Purdue because per one, Purdue's not that good. And two, like UConn has a big dude that can guard Zach Edey, and they've made that pretty apparent.
Kind of.
I mean, kind of. They won by 15.
No. He can guard Edey enough to make other people have to contribute. Edey got his in the first half. He got tired though because Klingon's a big ass dude.
Right, and he couldn't just. It wasn't some 6'9" dude.
Well, honestly, what tired him out was when the backup center came in, who's really a power forward.
Yeah,
and they killed him on those like little back cuts, and Edey would try and play that drop back defense, and they just lobbed it over the top because he wasn't quick enough to get there.
Yeah, he was really playing defense. Honestly, that's what tires him out, is playing defense, because he's a big, slow dude.
He was dominant in the first half. That's probably the only time a dude's going to drop 30 and 10, and it's going to hurt his draft stock because he can't guard guys that are quick.
Yeah, his draft stock is definitely hurt. I mean, I think he has a decent career, but I think he's very much a role player.
Yeah, I mean, but he's good enough to be in the NBA, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll see.
He should. I mean, if this was 1990, he'd be the number 1 overall pick.
100%. With that, NBA playoffs start Tuesday. Lakers are going to be in the play-in, looking like they're playing either the Suns or the Pelicans, depending on what happens, I think, tonight.
They locked up the 8, though, right? So they can lose and play another.
Yeah, so I think they're in the 8. So it just depends on whether they're playing the Suns or the Pelicans. So if they win, I think, because I think they're playing the Pelicans or something. And if they win, then the Suns go into that spot. So the Lakers will play the Pelicans.
The Lakers did win. They beat the Pelicans.
So there we go. They're playing the Pelicans in the play-in.
They should dominate the Pelicans.
They should. And then if they win against the Pelicans, is it a 7-game series in the play-in?
It's a 1 game.
It's a 1 game?
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I didn't know it was a 1 game. But if they win there, I think they're playing the T-Wolves, which I think is winnable as well.
Like if you're the 7 or the 8 and you win and you lose, you get to play, I think, the loser of the 8-9 game. But if you're, I don't know, it's simple.
I think
there's a scenario where if you lose and you're one of the higher seeds, that you get another game. But if you're the lower seed and you lose, you're out.
Interesting. Okay. So we'll have to do some further analysis on that, because I don't know the answer to that question. But right now, we're just talking about if they win, right? If they beat the Pelicans on, I think it's Wednesday is when the play-in starts, or Tuesday.
I think 16th, yeah.
So if they win that game, then they will then be in a first-round playoff series with the T-Wolves, who's the number 2 seed, which is probably the worst 2 seed that we've had in a while in the Western Conference.
I don't love the matchup with the T-Wolves.
Really?
Who the fuck is going to guard Ant?
That's true. I mean, is this Ant's coming out party more so than he's already came out?
That guy's been putting people through the fucking rim all year.
Yeah, he has.
I don't want to see that guy in a 7 game.
Damn. It's a new NBA.
They got a solid team. They got
Yeah.
a solid team. I don't think Gobert will be much of a factor on defense because AD is going to pull him away from the hoop.
For sure. Cat is going to be a tough cover, especially if they put LeBron at the 4 like he has been sometimes. And Cat's a big dude.
Yeah, he's pretty good too.
He's okay. He talks weird, but he's okay.
Is he hurt?
Hopefully nothing serious, but hopefully enough to make him sit out the first
just so he doesn't play the series. Yeah.
yeah.
So he can live a happy and healthy life, just not for a 7 game.
Yeah. Regardless, though, I do think it's winnable, right? I think it's not like some crazy unattainable thing that they can't get to the second round,
I mean, they made it to the Western Conference Finals last year, and I think they're better this year.
Yeah.
All right, let's call it before we get cut off.
All right. You got to sign off.
Anything is possible. Kevin Garnett.
I like it.
Bye.
All right, brother. Talk to you next time.